The door was half open, cold air crawling across the floor, and my heartbeat louder than my breath. I stood there frozen, not because of danger, but because someone was waiting on the other side. Someone who loved me, for real. And that terrified me more than anything else. I didn't step in right away. My fingers trembled against the frame. This shouldn't feel scary, I told myself. But the fear pressed harder, like a hand on my chest. Heavy, unfamiliar, unwelcome. Why does something gentle feel like a threat? I walked inside, slowly. Every sound felt sharp, every breath too loud. And there they were, smiling like I was someone worth waiting for. I didn't know what to do with that. Affection always came with strings before, or silence, or mood swings that left me guessing what version of someone I would meet next. But this was steady, warm, honest, and my mind didn't know how to handle it. They reached for my hand, a small gesture, soft, simple, kind, and I flinched. I hated that I flinched. Their eyes changed, not hurt, just curious, like they could see a storm inside me but didn't know where it came from. I looked away first, always did. Looking at someone who cared felt like standing too close to a fire, safe but burning anyway. That night I lay awake staring at the ceiling. The room felt too quiet, my thoughts too loud. Every memory I had kept replaying, the raised voices, the unpredictable moods, the love that felt like walking on broken glass. No wonder affection felt foreign. No wonder kindness felt suspicious. No wonder I learned to survive by shrinking. What if I never learned what love was supposed to feel like? The next morning, we sat together at the kitchen table, sunlight across the counter, a quiet that should have been peaceful, but made my bones tense. They asked a simple question: how are you feeling today? No hidden motive, no trap inside the words, just care. And I froze, because nobody ever asked me that without expecting a performance in return. I didn't know how to answer, didn't know how to be seen without being judged. My throat felt tight, my chest even tighter. It was like standing in a room I wasn't trained to be in. I whispered, I don't know. It was the truest sentence I had. They nodded, didn't push, didn't prod, just stayed. And that scared me more than anger ever did. The days went by. They kept showing up in small, consistent ways. A warm drink, a gentle check-in, a laugh that didn't cut, a touch that didn't take. I kept waiting for the switch, the moment the calm cracked and the chaos I knew so well flooded back in. But it didn't, and that made the fear worse. Predictable pain is easier to understand than unpredictable kindness. I realized something then. Love wasn't the threat. My history was. What if the real enemy isn't love, but the version of love I grew up with? One evening it finally happened. Not a breakdown, not an argument, just me, crying quietly on the edge of the bed, because the weight of being cared for felt too heavy to hold. They sat beside me, didn't touch me, didn't talk over my breathing, just waited until I lifted my head. I don't know how to do this, I said, my voice small, ashamed. Do what? They asked. Let someone stay. The room felt still, like the world paused long enough for my words to breathe. You don't have to know, they whispered. I'm not going anywhere. My chest cracked open, not in pain, but in recognition. A simple truth hit me. I feared love, because the people who claimed to love me never made me feel safe. And safety is what real love needs, what it grows from, what it rests on. I never had that, not once. So how could my body trust it now? I wiped my face, hands shaking, heart still racing, but something inside me shifted, just a little, just enough. I leaned my head against their shoulder, the first act of trust I had given freely in years. It wasn't easy, it wasn't smooth, but it was real, and real was enough. Can healing begin in the moments we finally stop running? Days turned into weeks. The fear didn't disappear, but it softened, like a bruise fading, like a muscle learning a new movement. I learned to stay, learned to breathe through the panic, learned that affection doesn't have to be earned with silence or obedience. I learned that love can be steady, patient, quiet, like a light left on so you don't have to walk through the dark alone. One night I looked at them, really looked, and the fear didn't win this time. I saw someone choosing me, not out of need, not out of control, but out of care. And for the first time, I chose them back. Slowly, clumsily, honestly, because the truth finally made sense. I didn't fear love. I feared the version of love I was taught. And once I understood that, everything began to shift. Love didn't turn into fear. Fear turned into understanding. And understanding turned into something that felt a lot like coming home.